Earlier this year, we featured a story with Clare Lindop and Racing SA, helping train up a new generation of staff for the racing industry. Here again, we see Clare with some off-track thoroughbreds working at Lincoln Park, not only helping the horses, but the humans as well.
Head collars don't have to be super tight. They have to be sitting nicely behind his ears. They're sitting nicely here. Not super tight, not tight under his throat.
Well, Clare, it's great to have you on Thoroughbreds Go again, because it's so important seeing what's happening in different states around Australia. And the work you're doing today out at Lincoln Park, just explain a bit about the background of how this all came to be.
Well, thanks, Carolyn. So since I've been involved with Racing SA Careers, I've been getting some expressions of interest sent through to me with people with different backgrounds. So some people have had horses in the past when they were younger and haven't handled them for a little while. And some people have had no experience with horses at all. And I didn't want that to be a barrier from them wanting to get a job in racing. So for me, it was like, how do I take someone who has some skills, help them get a little bit more confidence in working with horses, refresh some skills, and then I can perhaps help them find a job in a racing stable. So the relationship with Lincoln Park with Racing SA was already existing with the equine welfare side of things. And so when I met Sonia Little, we decided to run a horse handling workshop using the retired racehorses to help skill these people and give them some training, and then I could transition them into finding a stable job. So it's also not just for people wanting a job. I found sometimes there's general people who go to the races or may have a share in a racehorse. They just want to know a little bit more about how to handle the racehorses, how to approach them, and just find a little bit more about racing in general.
So explain exactly what you were teaching these whether they be young riders or people keen to get in the industry. What were the things you were teaching them today?
So I've sort of based it on a Cert 2 in racing. So we're looking at the skills where how to approach a horse, how to put a head collar on a horse, how to lead the horse, tie them up safely, how to keep yourself safe around the horse, and read some of their body language as well. Basic grooming, picking their feet out, putting a rug on and off, those kind of things, handling a horse's legs, etc. And a role as a stable hand. The first thing you're doing is feeding them, watering them, checking their sound, taking their rug off, getting them out ready to be ridden or work for that morning. So I guess what I'm doing here is some basic skills so that if they did work within a racing stable, they have some of those foundation skills already up their sleeve, and they don't feel a bit lost when they first go into that the workplace environment. So for me, it's about people enjoying the horses and being more confident around the horse.
Even, I guess, some of these people that you might be training, they might have, done work with horses or had their own horses, but it's so good to get a refresher, and particularly with thoroughbreds, because they are so quick to react, and, it's a slightly different horse to probably what a lot of them are used to.
One of the great things about having people come to Lincoln Park is that we're actually using retired racehorses they know, so Cell-Tip Rebel, Overexposure, some of these racehorses they've actually seen racing, and to show them that actually we do look after them in their next stage of their life, or that traceability where Racing SA has a bit more understanding of where the horses are going. And there's actually some horses here who've won a lot of prize money, as well as some who never won a race. So it's nice for them to sort of see that side of it as well. And working with those thoroughbreds here gives them some real-time experience. So when they go to work in a racing stable, they're more comfortable working with the thoroughbred horses.
Captain Punch, he got a length on Clever Tommy.
They're actually great horses, aren't they? I mean, Captain Punch we featured before on Thoroughbreds Go. He's 11 now by Captain Gerard. He had Kissing Spine, which is the same as Alligator Blood, who's come back and been a Group 1 winner. 113 himself, then Celtic Rebel, as you mentioned, by Dissident. He won once from 6 starts, and then you've got Overexposure, you mentioned, an 8-year-old by Rothsay, who had 5 wins from 21 and was a CS Hayes Stakes winner. So they're a real mix, aren't they, that Racing SA is sort of taking under their wing and using for this sort of training for the humans.
Yeah, it's really nice that some of the owners of those horses are still in touch with us here as well, and they like to know that those horses have ended up in a really good place and are actually being used in a really good, their working life's actually now different, but they're actually really helpful for training and also some other work that Sonia Little does here at Lincoln Park as well. So it's kind of nice that they're still helping the next generation of people who are going to be handling horses and working in horses. And you're right, Carolyn, in the sense that like it doesn't really matter what prize money they've earned in the past, although I do like showcasing some of our higher earned horses here, because they're all starting this new equestrian life and level footing. And Captain Punch, as I said, he's particularly good looking, and everyone loves getting him. He's got a glossy coat, and it's really nice to see him looking so well at his age. And he's going to continue on here doing some great work for us as part of the horse handling workshops.
Overexposure, charging through the rail. Overexposure, overhauling them.
Sonia, it's great to see some great thoroughbreds in action and training up a new generation of staff in the racing industry at Lincoln Park today with Clare Lindop. But tell me a little bit about Lincoln Park, because you're obviously not only training up, horses for new homes, but you also do a lot of work with humans.
Yes, so with our human side of things, we use our horses here at Lincoln Park to help with equine therapy. So teaching people horse behaviours and stuff like that, learning how to monitor their emotions and their energies to work with the horses. Because they've got that slightly more sensitive nature, they're very quick to pick up people's emotions. And can adapt to their handler as well. So if someone's feeling quite, say, depressed or anxious, quite often the horses will understand that and they will adapt to help that person.
I just reached out to Racing SA about an inquiry about track work riding, and then Claire obviously rang me and emailed me about it, and I just thought it was a good way to test the waters about it.
So what were you learning today? What was Claire teaching you?
Just about how to properly lead a horse and catch him, and about grooming and how to saddle and stuff. I knew some of it already, but it's just, some of the things were new as well. I would like to be a jockey, to work up to it as well. I've been kind of changing my mind a bit, but I'm going to test the waters and see how I feel about this.
And what is it about racing that makes you want to get involved?
Oh, I just like horses and I just love it.
Just put it through the baling twine.
And it's interesting, the horses you take on, you're actually taking on a lot of neglected horses, but it's really pleasing to hear that generally it seems that, they're coming from the equestrian world and they're not thoroughbreds.
No, so predominantly our thoroughbreds that come through come straight from the track, just simply retired. They're no longer racing, so they just need a stepping stone for the next part of their career.
So tell us, how does that work in with Racing SA, and how did the relationship sort of start up with Lincoln Park?
We were approached by John Cornell from Racing SA just to help with that next step. As you can imagine, coming off the track, they haven't experienced a lot of things. So here we try and, desensitise them to things that they'll see more at Pony Club, going out on trail rides, stuff like that. Predominantly a lot come from school, they're looking for that next step after school, what they're going to do, but also other people that are just wanting a change in careers, or they may have an interest in horses. And this is a great stepping stone to get a feel of, one, how to handle a horse, and two, if it's something that they would like to pursue. Claire gives them that extra stepping stone. But also for the horses themselves, being handled by different people, and especially sometimes beginners, it's a good chance for us to see how they'll cope in other areas, say Pony Club or, trail riding, stuff like that. So the more people that handle them, maybe with not as much experience, the better for us to judge their temperament. Any of our ridden horses get snapped up straight away, generally going to the Pony Club all-rounder type homes. Some will go into just pleasure riding. We even have a couple out doing show jumping, so yeah, all across the equestrian board.
I do use these workshops as a little bit of a fact-finding mission. I find out where people's level are at with their skills and what interest they have of going further in racing. So I have helped already some students going into casual stable hand positions, and some of them have gone on to wanting to do a qualification as well, which is really helpful. And I guess for some of the riders, some of my people who I've trained want to look towards being riders, and I think the next step for there is to take them onto that track work riding course. So I feel like this is a really good stepping stone, the horse handling workshop. It can just be a fun day out for someone, but it also could be that first step into getting involved in racing. And not everyone knows how to actually apply for a job with a stable hand. And I also find working with the racehorse trainers, if I can speak to the racehorse trainers and recommend students for them and try and find the right fit, it's going to really help in their career pathway progression in racing. So I feel like this horse handling workshop is a really great stepping stone.
Well, you're a fantastic ambassador for Racing SA, and it really is great, obviously, as a small estate to see so much being done, not only training up, you know, the new staff of the future, but also these thoroughbreds. It's great to see so much sort of time and money being invested into them in South Australia.
Thoroughcare SA has really gone from strength to strength since John Cornell's been working promoting the use of the thoroughbreds in the equestrian world. We've seen it really grow. The shows that we have where it's for retired racehorses, and it's actually been interesting the correlation with training. So people who may have a retired racehorse now using as equestrian rider are getting interested about working in racing and actually using their passion and love for horses as a career. And that's something I'm really enjoy helping young people actually choose as a career pathway. And you never know where racing's going to take you. It can take you from the country area all the way up to competing in the top levels of racing in Australia and also around the world. If anyone is interested in doing a horse handling workshop, please look at the Racing SA website. There's expressions of interest form and I'll certainly help you.